It has been known that I am the one who does the series about the peaking in high school. So we got another one of those today. I usually don't do these scripted, but everything today has pissed me off to a degree where I don't even think I need the script. So I'm just gonna talk as long as I can be talking, and then maybe I'll do something later. But for you, the YouTube audience, you don't want to be suggested like that. You want the like, the subscribe, the bell to stay notified. Do people even do that shit anymore? Click, click, ding! Hit the like button. Power corrupts when your dumbass doesn't realize what the fuck you're doing when it comes to being an adult, because you haven't had a transitional lifestyle yet. You are still one of those people who peaked in high school. You reinforce that dangerous social hierarchy as an adult because you replicate all that unearned authority that you were given in adolescence. People let you get away with shit. People let you get away with shit. I'm talking, let's put it this way. You know that a lot of people who graduate high school and have no prospects for themselves go into the police force. That could have been the whole series right there. That pipeline existing is justification for this whole thing. But I like to make it a little, a little classy, I'm at least gonna talk to you about something. Y'all remember that the prom king? Bullied everyone different. Oh, you're disabled, he look weird, blah, blah, blah. Cheated his way through the classes, sports guys, just give him an A. Now he's your boss, or your cop, or your senator. Those people with those mentalities walked through life and got to a point where they have positions of power that are respected by society regardless of what happens around them, regardless of what happens inward. They are no longer beholden to a system that should hold them accountable, which is crazy, because if you still think I'm the cool kid on the block, when you're 24 and somebody challenges your, as Cartman would say, authority, we end up in a very, very, very bad place. I'm supposed to be like, what if the worst part of high school never ended? It just got promoted. High school capital, or the high school social pyramid, I think it evolved. It never collapsed. While I am not a high schooler now, and reaching into that world would be insane of me to try, I did teach for a long period of time, up until 2020. So it's not like I'm severely divorced from what school was looking like towards kids a few years ago. But that capital, athleticism, popularity, beauty, manipulation, people who are able to get away with saying shit about you, and it was like, oh, you're not gonna touch her? You're not gonna touch our neighborhood crip. You touch him, I'm knocking you out. Those violent people, people who having shitty home lives and they brought that shit to school and all of a sudden you were the problem. You've seen the Key and Peele skit. I don't have to relitigate bullying with you. Those mirror adult forms of power. The things we reinforce. We've been talking about this for decades now. The male gaze and how dumbasses on the internet still can't figure out, bro, the Captain America physique, the Thor physique, it's not for us. It's for y'all. Y'all don't like fat, pudgy people because if the fat, pudgy person gets the girl in the end, you're like, that's not real, it doesn't happen to me. And that's just because you're an asshole. You're an asshole. You have structures that give you the same rewards. Money, fame, attention. And all you've ever been taught to regulate this as is the same thing as when you went through high school. Your teenage years, I'm discovering myself. I feel like I'm a certain person in a certain place and I can do what makes me feel qualified because people support me in whatever endeavor I decide to take on. I want to be a poet. People are going to buy my poetry books or people are going to come to my performance. I get on stage at the talent show. Everybody's going to cheer me regardless of what I do. I take those responsibilities. I take those commands, and I don't understand what power structures are because nobody's giving a fuck. Let kids be kids, and since there's no structure involved, you immediately begin breaking your own brain as you grow up, thinking that people respond to you that way because they're supposed to. People respond to you that way because when you were a kid, nobody G-checked you on that. And it's striking to you how different life can be because you're gonna go through life 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, thinking that's how it's gonna go. And for some people, that's how it goes. But it only reinforces the negatives of those structures because you're still wielding power, social capital that you don't understand. The people who are giving you the capital don't understand it. This is where the arguments come in about That bitch always trying to get with my mans, always trying to be a groupie of mine. Who put you in the friend group? The top 5 conversation, the top 10 conversation, sidekick top 5. I'm not on your top 5. I'm not on your MySpace top 8. I'm not on your, like, you've seen it before, but you never thought to apply it outside of its framework. Remember how we used to watch videos online? Motherfuckers like, oh, I heard you said some shit on MySpace, bro. I saw your status on AIM, so what's up? If that's unfamiliar to you, that's existing on the internet now, so you can just look at it now. Same thing back then. Same thing 22 years ago, 23 years ago, 20 years ago. Same thing, just slower. So people naturally said what I have said. Everything you do has to have intention. There's no way that you posted this. There's no way that you said that. With all the time it used to take to load a web page, there's no way you went on doing that. Explain yourself. Athletes become the law enforcement or the corporate ladder climbers, willing to kill you at any rate, at any point in your career, as long as they could get a leg up. That's a dog-eat-dog world, boy. That's insane, because I used to know you. Remember the scene in Malcolm in the Middle? Oh, this guy may be big and famous now, but there was a day where his name was Accident Pants. Remember that? Remember that? I remember somebody asking me for a loan. Remember that? Remember that? You've seen examples of this. What feels awkward to you as I'm explaining this to you at the beginning is that you haven't correlated what was around you with your upbringing because you were able to separate things. The Game Boy Advance SP has an impact on how I play video games. I can now load my cartridges in the bottom instead of the top. It's got a nice sleek form. I've got the flip. I got the built-in light. It's charged instead of batteries. You know, shit going in a different way. That got an improvement. What you won't say is this was the first stage of how we use portable devices to communicate with one another. You would say that came at the time of the DS. Now you can recognize times, but all of them together feel like a blur because some people didn't have to focus on this. Maybe your house life was a little bit better. Maybe your families took you on vacations. It's okay. Other people didn't get this chance to think this through. So those other people are now split into 2 groups, the popular and the unpopular, based on social trends, not actual engagement. The longer you go without engagement, the worse off the people who grow up without that engagement tend to have to teach that engagement downwards. Every word has lost its meaning. You hear the word engagement and it almost snaps you directly to Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'm not getting enough engagement. Not enough people are flocking around to me. You can say manifestation isn't a thing. But if you were to consistently say the most negative shit around yourself, around people, eventually they're going to think, well, we don't think that of you, but you keep saying it, so I guess we believe it, and we don't want to be around you. So further confirming your delusions. You've heard of this cycle, the perpetual cycle of self-abuse. The frat boys become the tech startup culture. Yeah, we drink, bro. You hearing about this in the gaming industry. The office bros. Yeah, Samantha got a nice fat ass and you can see her underwear, bro. I wonder what that pussy smells like. And you think to yourself, well, yeah, men do ugly shit like that, but they're in their 30s. No bueno. No bueno, puedo ser. No bueno. No bueno. Mean girls. The HR manipulators. Social gatekeepers. This guy said something to me and I want him fired now. The Karens you hate. Nobody whooped they ass. The social structure we built out of the nature of being teenagers across the world defines our relationships in the upper worlds. This is why adults, for the longest period of time as you were a kid in the 1990s, depending on when you grew up, consistently believed they knew best because they actually didn't know shit. But now we're in a world where those parents are communicating their ideas out loud and they're getting slapped down because obviously if you were to, oh my God, it sounds like a circle. I could have sworn I just said this earlier. If you were to profess any of these ideas out loud, you would go, so when are they saying it then? Social rejections. These individuals were often never held accountable in adolescence. That creates a false sense of superiority and entitlement. You've seen it before. You keep hearing people talk about, you can't let your kids have the screen time. It's not gonna be good. My way of teaching is the best. My way of parenting is the best. I know what to do here. This guy's an idiot. This guy's a dumbass. This guy's an idiot. This guy's a dumbass. The rise of frat culture in corporate hiring and hazing normalizes team building. Yeah, man, you gotta go through this. Oh, I know you're very anxious speaking up in front of people, but we want you to speak up in front of everybody right now. Why? I thought I was here to be an accountant. Oh, it's just a thing we do, you know, icebreaker for everybody to get used to each other. You start feeling bothered, insanely bothered, because what the fuck is going on to where now it feels like I'm in the same spot I was when I was a kid, but I have all the tools and access of an adult. Things become an illusion. The illusion of merit. How early praise kills growth. The participation trophy narrative is literally true only for the popular kids. Mind the generational gap altogether. You gotta get that dude in there. Yo, this dude is good, but he doesn't have that many viewers. How many times have I spoken about this on my own stream? Participation trophy literally means, please include me, I have popularity. Nobody ever challenges them to improve intellectually, emotionally, or morally. They just consistently get pushed forward. That's a good kid. That's a good kid. You've heard the creepiest shit come out of men's mouths. Oh, she's gonna be crazy when she turn 18. No critical thinking was ever developed. Their illusion is that their world is perfect. The way they input-output works for everyone, or else they wouldn't be popular. Everyone wouldn't want to talk to them. Everyone wouldn't, praise them at every turn. Everybody want a picture with me, everybody, oh, that's the hottest girl in school. They get isolated by the nature of just existing. Wow, that sounds familiar. If your ego was a balloon, high school inflated it, but never tied that knot. So now it leaks self-worth and reinflates by dominating others and taking their air. They were celebrated for conformity and aggression. Oh, I don't fuck with him. He wanted to, yo, what up, Adam? What up? And it's like, y'all getting failing grades, and that's cool because you on a sports team and you don't do any extracurriculars, but you make fun of the nerds, and it's just such a weird assessment of, wow, I see that nobody has really pulled you back from yourself and said, do you not see how you're acting right now? Make it more specific. Authority without accountability. Now the two things we last talked about are in our hands right now. How do these people infiltrate systems of power? Well, just like ICE now wants to lower the age limit and say you don't need a college degree, the places where people feel most inadequate about themselves are generally the places where the restrictions for getting in are very low. That is why you are noticing McDonald's workers are able to go on strike and demand a higher wage. Meanwhile, them corporate motherfuckers that make $22 an hour would never speak up against their boss at all. Think about policing as an extension of school hall monitors, but always picked on them kids to yo, you shouldn't be in the hallway, you fucking nerd. Get out of here before I punch you. Goes into, stop resisting. That connection is easy. The system it's built on, for some reason, you don't want to dismantle. But the way you communicate this issue acts as though you want to dismantle it. So it gets to a point where you start wondering to yourself, what other areas of my life have been absolutely overtaken by this same thought process that I thought would end when we got out of a collective experience such as school? I brought it up earlier, workplace misogyny. That's just locker room talk. Now you have a rapist as a president. You don't think there's a connection between an upbringing of men all around him being abusive towards women and saying this is okay, all the way up to your president? It's just locker room talk. You are an adult. What locker room were you having this conversation in? This wasn't a locker room you were having the conversation in. Pull it even further down the line. Political manipulation. I can be a right-winger who makes the libs mad by posting the most obscene shit ever and just watching the reactions because I can't punch you in your face directly. I was once on the student council. I know how to make people believe things. Consultant jobs, come on, man. Now you get people who like silencing dissent. using charm to escape responsibility, and normalize toxic power dynamics. Think about how fascist and authoritarian systems recruit young, disaffected men with dreams of reclaiming perceived lost status. Put it all together. Put it all together. And you end up in a place where, oh shit, we're not losing young men to the hard right. America sucks and there's nobody offering anything to do. These niggas is bored. Protect your culture, says DHS. We must secure an existence, says Adolf Hitler. Hitler Youth? Think about that now. Which figure? The Miller Youth? The Trump Youth? It don't even hit right. But you know why it don't hit right? Because people say, that hasn't happened yet. That's a lie. And I hate pulling out a random stray, but I thought we were about marginalized voices having a bigger platform to speak the truth. Or did we all stop arguing that the moment we got our little view count boosts? For large thought leaders who are absolutely insanely drunk with power, such as Epstein, they create a realm where there's just nothing but the death of rational thought in the echo chamber of their early praise. They weaponize charisma, not logic. Their ideas aren't critically tested, they're just loud, familiar, and rewarded. In every case that I've dealt with personally, this is common sense, bro. Everything gets boiled down to, if you believe that, then you're crazy. Shout out Erudite, another body I collected in my goddamn closet. Building careers off of just regurgitating whatever a daddy tells you to regurgitate. Hanging out with people who are so disgustingly vile, but because nobody real wants to be around you, no good people want to be around you as your friend, you make public appearances with these people because they all praise you. I'm so pretty, I'm so cute, I'm so hot. You're still a piece of shit. Hey, thanks for checking in. You're still a piece of garbage. And because of that, they fear ambiguity. They fear, what did I say earlier? Well, you weren't here, YouTube, but during my stream, I was saying this. Do you not hear yourself? Make these niggas rap. Put them in a place where they can't push the gas pedal in the direction they want to go. They have to work the wheel. And when they do this with the wheel, you know it's over. Because you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to hit the turn with it, so you know where the wheel is. Every single conservative, anybody even remotely wanting to support anything happening right now, consistently goes and thrives on emotional dominance over intellectual rigor. We know they're fucking stupid. Do they know they're fucking stupid? And if so, how can a media ecosystem be built off of just hearing yourself say the same thing over and over until you believe it's true? That person said it, that person said it, that person said it. So it has to be true. No validation will ever come from my heart. So now you ask yourself, what the fuck? What do we do? You hear these sentences all the time. Boys will be boys. It's just locker room talk. She's just jealous. He's a natural leader, AKA he yells and people obey. You have hostile work environments where now you have to have tons of laws come up because, wow, what the fuck? Men are just like pieces of shit. The suppression of marginalized voices. Ironically, the frat bro culture stops you from ever having conversations with people who might push you on a point that doesn't feel worth pushing. Not because they're angry at you, not because they want to attack you, but simply because you said something, I liked what you meant, can I hear more about it because I've never thought about it that way. So the continuation of that cycle continues. The harm from little microaggressions to systemic abuse. And when we start picking leaders to try to fight that, their real integrity comes out and you realize they're also the same. They're also the same. And that hurts us because there are ways to properly judge people's actions and motives, but you gotta put them in a situation where they don't know where they can stand. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals. You put a person and you back them into a corner, I promise you, that high school mentality, if they haven't aged out of it, you'll hear it in their voices. You'll see it in their mannerisms. They can't confront anything. Keep all those emotions bottled up. Now what's up? You can't communicate since you became an adult. Situation's gone wrong and you got lockjaw. I'm listening to that shit in 2004. That's not a worldwide experience. So maybe I am a group of a select few million people who maybe won't push the button for $100,000 if somebody dies. I get $100,000 if somebody dies. I know I said it correctly, but I'm just clarifying. Don't know if I'm gonna edit this completely in its way or I might just leave it as is because I'm really on a roll right now and it's not really giving a reason to stop, but we'll see where I'm at. He's just always like that. He's just always been like that. You've heard that before. He's just always been like that. Okay, then why are you still hanging out with him? These conversations are uncomfortable because you don't want to just cut people off. You don't want to just cut ideas off. You don't want to cut things that you spent time on and energy and money on right off. But if it's clearly killing you, killing your image, I sound like I'm about to say Hamas. There's the part that you put the time code for and you're like, damn, I really didn't see that part coming. I'm gonna check them comments. Y'all be commenting. I'm gonna check them comments. I'm looking at you right now as you type it. Anyway, he's just always been like that. Real world consequences are you see it in the way creatives talk to each other. You see it in the Twitter spats. You see it in the Twitch spats. You see it in the YouTube spats. Somebody is out of their mind, but just because they exist with a level of viewership that they have, for some reason, their ideas are valid. It doesn't have to be a Hassan Piker. It doesn't have to be a Philip DeFranco. It doesn't have to be for the sake of goddamn arguments. It doesn't have to be, every creator's a piece of shit now. It don't even gotta be a Corey Kenshin, and even then there's a whole conversation to be had. Maybe, and I feel like I've thrown this 3,000 times up in the air, maybe we should just make better people famous, but like, y'all get tired of hearing that, so I don't know how to make that point any clearer. These people act this way because they've never been taught not to act this way. And I feel like you don't want it to be that easy of an answer. You don't, and I understand that on some G shit. Paradigm talking. I understand everything I've said in this entire video could absolutely be taken as a like nosedive into such of the simplest things over it. But I want you to think about what dominates our media circles. Irrationality over empathy. You know it because you feel like this isn't targeting you, but will you share this video with somebody it does target? Well, I'm glad to tell you, if you are over the age of 18 right as of recording this video, 7 people around you all play into these dynamics. That's what structures are. They give you no chance to explore any other topic than the ones they demand. So when you go outside, it's really hard to think about something else other than what the fuck you gotta think about. So introspective thought like this has to be put to the wayside. And because it has to be put to the wayside, it doesn't allow us to calculate our effect on other people and where they come from. That is why it is very easy for me to figure out people's motives based on just talking to them once, seeing them interact with a hot button topic once, seeing them attack somebody, seeing them go after somebody, seeing them create their own art. The process is how I can figure out, oh, that's how you got to that conclusion. 2 pieces of that 3-step process you just went through make you a piece of shit. Congratulations, you finished your first song. You also abused your girlfriend. We're not skipping that part. But you want to skip it because you peaked in high school. So what do we do about it? I always like to provide a little suggestion. I always like to add, because I feel like a lot of leftist circles always complain about, all you guys do is complain, you never offer solutions. Well, it would be easy enough for me to tell you teach media literacy and critical thinking early, but we seem to be lost on that. So maybe we can start having exterior media literacy and critical thinking sessions. Maybe we need to make it a point that this is what the noise we need to be making about is. Maybe we can start, oh, Socks is back, let's go! Let's go! Oh shit! I'm in the middle of a YouTube video, but I'm gonna keep that in because that's how I feel about people that support me, that have been around me. Why would I treat somebody who spends their time paying attention to me. I've been graduating and moving houses. God, you gotta tell us everything. I mean, on your time, of course. But damn, we missed you. Old school shit. Old school shit. We could encourage late bloomers and marginalized students to unlearn shame, be unapologetically themselves, and create based on that unapologeticness. Not everything needs to be a Picasso work of art. I'm okay with 3 lines on a paper. But if I could get you to do that, I could get you to unlearn a lot of other things. I could get you to challenge charisma with questions, not just silence. Maybe we could create spaces where empathy is rewarded as much as ego. Break the myth of natural leaders by spotlighting real communal leadership. And as corny as these last end lines are gonna sound, I think they're the most perfect things I've ever written, so I will share them with you. High school never ends, unless we graduate from it. Because if you peaked in high school, you stopped growing. It's not power, that's paralysis. Why don't you tell me, just like every other YouTuber asks me to do, tell me about someone you worked with who you may have met in high school, or a story about somebody who clearly fits the description of what I explained above and needs to take a closer look at themselves. The paradigm shift. And when I'll read all the comments below, no matter how crazy they are, because I'm a wild and crazy guy. And I'll see you in the next one. I feel like I keep ending every segment I do with, they gotta free my niggas. So I think maybe I should make a song. Like I could just sing it a little, and just make it like a little jingle. And that could be the ending. And that's probably how things like big money, salvia, big money, salvia, big money, salvia, 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 big money, salvia, big money, salvia. But like, they gotta free my niggas.